Long ago, in a small African village called Itoko, two boys were born on the same day. One was called Kofi and the other was Juma. They grew up like brothers, eating from the same bowl and playing under the big baobab tree. Everyone in the village loved their friendship. One hot afternoon, while playing in the forest, Kofi and Juma saw an old man trapped under a falling tree. They quickly helped him out. The old man smiled and said, "You boys are brave and kind. I will give you a secret." He gave them a small horn and said, "Blow this only when you are in big trouble." The boys thanked the old man and promised to keep the horn safe. As they grew older, they made a promise to always protect each other. They cut their thumbs and let their blood drop into a bowl of water. Then they drank from it. "This is our blood covenant," they said. "We are brothers forever." Years passed. Kofi became a strong hunter and Juma became a clever farmer. They still loved each other like before. But one day a rich merchant came to the village. He saw Juma's land and wanted it. He told Juma, "Sell me your land and I will make you rich." Juma said no, but the merchant didn't stop. He started telling lies about Juma. He told the king that Juma had stolen from him. The king became angry and sent guards to arrest Juma. Juma ran to Kofi and begged for help. Kofi was confused. He loved Juma, but he was also afraid of the king. "Maybe you should run away," Kofi said. Juma looked at him with sad eyes. "What about our blood covenant?" he asked. Kofi looked away and said nothing. That night, Juma blew the magic horn. The wind blew hard and the old man appeared. "Why do you call me?" he asked. Juma cried, "Kofi has broken our blood covenant. I am in trouble and he will not help me." The old man looked sad. "A broken blood covenant brings danger," he said. "Be careful." The next day, the king's guards caught Juma and locked him in a cage. The people in the village were scared. Crops started dying. The sun grew too hot. The river dried up. Elders said, "Something is wrong. The gods are angry." Kofi felt guilty. He went to the river to think. Suddenly, a snake bit his leg. He fell to the ground and cried in pain. Just then the old man appeared again. "You broke your covenant," he said. "Now you must fix it or lose your life." Kofi crawled to the village and told the king the truth. "Juma is innocent," he said. "I was afraid. I didn't protect him." The king was shocked but still angry. "Then you must bring me the merchant. Only then will I free Juma." Kofi knew this was a big task. The merchant had strong guards and dark magic. But Kofi remembered the horn. He blew it again. This time, a lion came out of the forest. It was big and had golden eyes. It looked at Kofi and bowed. Kofi climbed on the lion's back and rode to the merchant's camp. The lion roared and the guards ran away. The merchant tried to escape, but the lion caught him. Kofi tied him up and took him back to the village. The king was pleased. He freed Juma and punished the merchant. The crops started growing again. Rain fell and the river flowed once more. The villagers danced and sang. Kofi went to Juma and knelt down. "I am sorry," he said. "I broke our blood covenant." Juma looked at him and smiled. "You fixed it. That is what matters." The old man appeared one last time. He looked at both of them and said, "A true covenant is not just in blood, it is in the heart." Then he disappeared like smoke. From that day, Kofi and Juma became closer than ever. They helped the village grow strong. They told children the story of the blood covenant and warned them never to break a promise. The horn was placed in the shrine so that only the wise could use it, and the lion stayed in the forest, guarding the village from harm. Many years later, when Kofi and Juma were old men, they sat under the baobab tree and laughed. "We were brave boys," Kofi said. "And foolish too," Juma added, smiling. The village of Itoko became famous for its peace and unity. People came from far to hear the tale of two boys and their blood covenant. And so the story was passed down from father to son, from mother to daughter. A tale of friendship, fear, courage, and the power of keeping a promise sealed in blood. Many years had passed since Kofi and Juma saved their village. The baobab tree, where they played as boys, was now old and wide. They still met there every morning to talk and laugh. But one day, they noticed something strange. Birds stopped singing and the wind felt heavy. That night, a young girl named Nia ran into the village crying. "Help! Help!" she shouted. "My village is gone." Shadows came from the mountain and took everyone. The elders gathered to listen. She said the mountain now had a black cloud over it, and strange creatures walked at night. Juma looked at Kofi. "This sounds like dark magic," he said. Kofi nodded. "We must help her people." The king agreed and sent for warriors, but they were too afraid to go. So once again, Kofi and Juma stood up to protect the innocent. They went to the shrine and took the magic horn. Kofi blew it, but this time no lion came, only silence. The old man did not appear. "Why didn't it work?" Kofi asked. A voice whispered through the trees, "You must now face this without magic." The two friends packed food and spears and began the journey with Nia. The mountain was far and the forest was thick. At night, they heard growls and saw red eyes in the dark, but they did not stop. On the third day, they reached the mountain. The black cloud above it rumbled like thunder. Strange creatures with long arms and gray eyes stood at the gate. Juma held his spear tight. "We go together," he said. Kofi nodded, like always. They fought hard. Kofi swung his spear. Juma kicked and pushed, and Nia threw stones. But there were too many creatures. Just when they were almost caught, the horn in Kofi's bag began to glow. Kofi quickly blew it. A strong wind swept through the mountain. The old man appeared, but he was not alone. The lion came roaring, and with it, a great eagle flew above. The creatures screamed and ran back into the shadows. The old man said, "Your bravery has awakened the horn. It only answers those who fight first with courage. He led them into the mountain. Inside, they found Nia's people locked in cages. The creatures had taken them to use their fear to grow stronger. The old man raised his staff, and the cages broke. The people ran out, free at last. Nia hugged her mother with tears of joy. As they left the mountain, the black cloud began to fade. The sun shone again, the trees grew green, the birds returned. The mountain, once dark, became peaceful again. Kofi and Juma walked back with the rescued villagers. Everyone in Itoko cheered when they saw them. The king praised their bravery. "You have once again saved not just our village, but another," he said. That night there was a big feast. Drums beat loudly, people danced, children laughed. Kofi and Juma sat quietly under the baobab tree smiling. "We are still keeping the blood covenant," Juma said. "Forever," Kofi replied. The horn was returned to the shrine, but now it was placed on a golden stand. A storyboard was made beside it, with pictures showing the blood covenant, the lion, the mountain, and the rescue. Nia was made the new guardian of the horn. She learned from the elders and trained in the forest. She became strong and wise, just like Kofi and Juma once were. One day the old man came again, but this time in a dream. He told them, "The covenant is now part of the land. As long as people keep their promises and stand for good, the land will protect them." When Kofi and Juma became very old, the village made a statue of them at the baobab tree. On the statue were the words, "True brothers, true courage. The blood covenant never breaks." Children sat under the tree and listened to the story again and again. They learned not to lie, not to betray, and always help one another. Other villagers heard the story and made their own covenants of peace. Slowly the whole land became a place of unity and friendship. And so the blood covenant lived on, not just in Kofi and Juma, but in every child who promised to do good, and every heart that chose love over fear. Between the past and the future, the villagers welcomed them back with songs and drums. The horn glowed brighter than ever. The king said, "Nia and Tobi have proven that courage lives on. The covenant is strong." Nia made Tobi her helper. Together they trained other children. They taught that the horn only works when the heart is brave. The story of the blood covenant became even stronger. Kofi and Juma's statues were joined by two new ones, Nia holding the horn and Tobi with a wooden stick. Beneath them it was written, "The covenant lives in the brave." Peace returned, rivers flowed, forests healed. No more firewalkers came, but the people stayed watchful. They knew the covenant must be protected with courage always. The horn was placed in a golden case. It was no longer just a magic item. It was a sign of unity, love, and promise. Every year the village held the Covenant Day. People told the story, danced, and shared food. Children acted out the tale of Kofi, Juma, Nia, and Tobi. Other villages joined the celebration. They brought gifts, stories, and new friends. The whole land became one big family, tied together by truth and promise. And though the old heroes were gone, their spirit lived on in every drum beat, every song, and every child who stood for what is right. The blood covenant never ended. It grew stronger and brighter, passed from heart to heart, from one brave soul to another. Many years later, Tobi grew strong and wise. He became the new guardian of the covenant horn. Niao, now old, watched proudly as he trained new children under the great baobab tree. One day a strange man came to the village. He wore a black cloak and carried a bag of gold. He told the people, "I can give you riches, just give me the horn." Many were tempted. Some villagers whispered, "What is a horn compared to gold?" Tobi stood up. This horn is not for sale. It holds the spirit of our people." The man smiled and said, "Then you are a fool." That night the horn was stolen from the shrine. Panic spread. The sky turned grey. Trees bent low. Even the animals cried. Tobi searched the whole village but found nothing. He sat before the statue of Kofi and Juma and said, "Help me, I need your strength." That night Tobi had a dream. He saw the horn buried deep in the desert. A voice said, "You must walk alone, face fear, find the truth." When he woke up, he packed water, his spear, and began his journey. The desert was hot. Sand burned his feet. He saw mirages and heard whispers, but he walked on. On the fourth day, he found an old hut. Inside sat the man in the black cloak. "You came," the man said, "but why? The horn is just wood and metal." Tobi answered, "No, it is our bond, our promise, our history." The man laughed. "You'll have to fight me for it." They fought hard. Sand flew, blood spilled, but Tobi did not give up. He remembered Kofi, he remembered Nia, he remembered the promise. With one last move, he pushed the man down and took the horn. As he held it, the sky cleared. Wind blew cool. The desert turned green. The man disappeared into dust. The horn glowed and hummed softly. Tobi walked back, tired but proud. The village cheered when he returned. Nia cried with joy. "You have done well," she said. The horn was placed back in the shrine, this time with stronger locks and deeper respect. From then on, no one asked for gold in exchange for the horn. People knew it was not just an object, it was their soul, their unity, their truth. Tobi started teaching children new songs about courage, promise, and friendship. The stories of Kofi, Juma, Nia, and Tobi were told again and again. One evening, Tobi sat under the baobab tree. A small girl asked, "Uncle Tobi, what is the blood covenant?" He smiled and said, "It is a promise you never break, even when it's hard, even when you are alone." The girl nodded and said, "I want to make a promise like that." Tobi patted her head. "Then keep your word, love your people, and always do what is right." The horn never glowed again, but it never needed to. It had done its work. The real magic now lived in the hearts of the people. The baobab tree grew even bigger. Children played under it, laughing and running. The village stayed peaceful and strong, guided by the old stories. Even when strangers came, they were welcomed, taught the story, and shown the shrine. All who heard the tale left wiser and kinder. The blood covenant became more than a story. It became a way of life, a life of truth, love, and courage. And so the land of Itoko became a light to other lands, all because two boys long ago made a promise and kept it with their hearts. Moral lessons.
Always keep your promise, no matter what. True friendship is stronger than fear. Courage comes from the heart, not magic. Never trade truth for riches. A good name is better than gold. Together, people can fight any darkness.